Offense that cannot be stopped by anybody, with incredible receivers, an incredible quarterback, hopefully a healthy running back, and a great offensive line, going against a team that is experienced, plays very hard, hits you hard, executes, and wins in every moment. Who do you like coming right out of the gate here?
I don't know if I can make a pick yet, but I love that this is a clash of matchup styles. These are two very different teams, and style clashes make for very fun games. And I think Michigan is 4.5-point favorite. Is that right? I think
yes,
on the
yes.
line.
Open line here. Michigan minus 4.5, brought to you by BetMGM.
Yes, and so it is. I think that feels about right. I think Michigan. Look, Texas ran for more than 6 yards per carry on Washington in this game. Like, Michigan's gonna run the ball with Blake Corum. I think they're gonna run the ball pretty well. I also think Michael Penix is going to have enough time to throw deep balls and complete them. And he
Penix also looked completely and utterly unbothered by a Texas pass rush the entire game.
Exactly. Right. That's exactly what I was going to say. Jalen Milroe, when there was pressure in his face, he crumbled. He crumbled in that game. Penix was so calm and unbothered back there, and was just shifty enough a couple of times, either to get out of the way or to break off a run, that a couple of times Texas players got to Penix and waited a second because they were waiting for him to move and do something. So yeah, Michigan's going to get pressure in this game, but is Michael Penix going to be able to make enough moves and get the plays down the field? And then the big question, I think obviously the huge question going into this game, is Dillon Johnson's health. That's Washington's number one running back. Kalen DeBoer said after the game that it was a re-aggravation of an injury suffered late in the year. So we'll see. But if Washington suddenly doesn't have its number one running back in that game, that is absolutely huge. But I think Michigan 4.5 feels about right in terms of where you're setting the line.
I think it's very easy to start going down into the realm of, I don't think that Michigan will be able to keep up with a shootout. I don't know that Michigan will be able to keep up with what Washington brings to the table offensively. And then I just realized that I'm done picking against Michigan. I think that, I firmly believe that Michigan's going to win the national championship this year. They just seem to have it all together. And I know Washington has been an underdog in every game, and, they keep proving everyone wrong, and it's a compelling storyline. But how do you pick against Michigan right now? I just don't know how you do it.
I think Michael Penix is the way you do that. Not to say that Washington's going to put up 45 points in this game, because I think Michigan will be able to run the ball again and will be able to slow that down a bit. But I just wonder, if Washington gets up 14-0 real quick for whatever reason, if Michigan comes out slow like they did in the game today, can they crawl back? Do they have an offense that can come back? Because I think Texas didn't quite have that. Texas fell behind, and they had a real tough time being able to come back. It took some lucky breaks at the end in order for them to get there. And if Washington is able to go up 2 scores quickly, or in the end of the first quarter or something, does Michigan have what it takes to come back? Will they put the game on J.J. McCarthy's arm and ask him to win the game, which hasn't happened yet? So I think Washington can absolutely win this game. I mean, you're done doubting Michigan. I feel the same about Washington, though. I feel like we're done doubting Washington. Yeah, they've won 10 or 11 straight games by a single score, but they bullied Washington. They bullied Oregon. They bullied Texas here. I don't know. It's hard to bet against both of these teams. This is why it feels like the right national championship game, by the way. 2 undefeated teams. These 2 teams defined the season. Penix was the most important player in the most important games. Michigan had all the controversy around it. It was a team we talked about all year. These are the 2 biggest stories of the season meeting in the championship game. And I think that's great.
Michigan holds an 8-5 all-time series edge against Washington. They've met 4 times in the postseason, all of them in the Rose Bowl. Washington won the 1977 and 1991 games. 1991 was to share a piece of the national championship, and Michigan won in 1980 and 1992. If you're a history person, we got that from Matt Brown, who knows more about college
Yeah,
football
by the way,
history.
Ubben's not on this podcast, so we didn't even talk about it, but we respect the Rose Bowl here, both of us on this
Yes,
podcast.
yes.
You've got the Rose Bowl hat on.
I wore it for a
I'm
reason. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the
Should I
game as
throw
well.
this
We're
bad
not
boy
gonna
on or what?
I've got that too. The Cotton
We
Bowl
just
hat
got
that
this
they give
get
out
the
at
game that
beginning.
we covered. Yeah.
But yeah, no slander from Ubben here about the Rose Bowl. But yeah, Michigan, Washington. I wish this championship game was at the Rose Bowl. I know you and I are going to be driving down to Houston for it, and it'll be an easy way to get
We
down.
could have driven to LA. Would you have gone on a road trip with me to LA?
Oh, of course. It just feels like this game should be at the Rose Bowl, like Michigan, Washington championship.
Yeah.
But alas.
Or Indy.
Or Indy, I guess.
This is a Big Ten national championship.
My longtime belief has been that the national championship game should be at the Rose Bowl every year. Doesn't have to be January 1st, but it is the one setting in college football outside of like home stadiums that feels special. The Sugar Bowl, the Peach Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, they all feel the same. They're in these sterile NFL stadiums. The Rose Bowl feels different. And I know there's certain people who don't get it or hate it, or they're upset that they were against the playoff, that they delayed expansion of the playoff, what have you. Like, that's fine. But like, it's one of the things that is quintessential college football. And at a time when college football is kind of losing that feeling of being college football, the Rose Bowl it's college football, man. And that's what this Michigan-Alabama game was. Everything about it was everything we love about college football.